What up, big dog? You got anything to say to the channel? Yeah, I'm just a cat, in a man's world, it's hard out here for a cat, I just gotta sit around all day and, look at these humans like this one right here recording. Like, why are you recording me, bro? Like, seriously, stop recording me, bro. Like, just give me food and water and get the hell out of my way. It's a simple life, really. Very simple life. You humans just complicate things. You need to be more like a cat, We keep shit simple. Like look at me. Keeping things simple. Just sitting here, Life's good.
I just keep it real out here in these streets. You know what I'm saying? Like, see, look, I just be chilling, bro. Like, real talk, real talk. I be looking at the news, cause I be watching the news. Y'all may think I'm a cat, I don't be doing nothing, but I really be out here in these streets. I got my ears to the streets for real. You know what I'm saying? And I be seeing all these YNs outside shooting up stuff. I got a couple cat friends that we used to sell cat litter together. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all humans, y'all sell drugs. Us cats, we sell cat litter, and cat food out there in these streets. So a couple of my cat buddies, they still be keeping me tapped in. You feel me? We got a little our little track phone or whatever. You gotta keep two phones. One for the plug and one for the hose. But yeah, bro, it's just like, yeah, bro, like why humans be tripping, bro? Like, yeah, bro, like you just be chilling, bro, like me, bro, like for real, bro, like I don't know, bro, I'm just a cat.
Yo, what up, YouTube? It's Richawd back with another video. Now, ignore the beginning of the video. It has nothing to do with the video, just me being goofy. But, I feel like the best thing in a stressful situation, or if you're dealing with stress or anybody dealing with stress, the best thing you can do is have a little comedy relief, At least that's what I do, bro. You can do whatever you want, but sometimes you just got to laugh at your pain, as Kevin Hart said. You know what I'm saying? Like, that really be all you can do sometimes. Like, sometimes shit just be so cooked, bro. You just got to laugh at the shit, bro, and keep it pushing. But I just wanted to get this quick video out. Happy late birthday to me. I turned 24 yesterday. Happy birthday to my dad. He turned like 60-something yesterday. Me and him got the same birthday. Bunch of birthdays this month. My niece's birthday, my dad's birthday, my nephew's birthday, everybody's birthday. It's Libra season. But I don't even follow all that astrology shit. I'm just saying, Libra season. But to the point of the video, what I want to talk about today, I want to keep this short and sweet. This is actually like my 5th take on this video, believe it or not. I ain't even gonna explain what's been happening, but it's just been technical issues. I'm just leave it at that. So I'm a little wore out by this point. It's like, damn, bro, I done made the video like 3-4 times already, but just technical shit keep happening. But I know this one gonna be the one. What I want to talk about today is, with the economy and with the stress levels raising, a lot of men are choosing not to approach women anymore, or they're not approaching women like they used to, right? Excuse me. Even women are noticing it, right? Now, they may be getting approached by dudes that they don't want, but they're noticing that a lot of the dudes that they may like or they may be attracted to, isn't going out their way to get their attention. You know what I'm saying? And they wondering why. Dudes aren't as chivalrous as they used to be, if that's a word, or chivalry isn't being seen as much. I made a video on how quote unquote chivalry is dead. And what I wanted to talk about in this one is the whole loner, quote unquote, boring life that a lot of men are falling into and finding peace in, because I said in my last video, bro, to me, a man shouldn't be trying to focus on a female until he gets his life together. To me, having your life together is having your own place that you pay for. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're paying rent, mortgage, or whether it's paid off, it's yours. Having your own vehicle where you can get from point A to point B. You don't got to use nobody else's vehicle. You don't got to use your baby mama vehicle. You got your own shit, right? You don't got to rely on nobody or any female for anything. You don't got to rely on nobody for anything, To me, just me speaking, I think it's most ideal to start focusing on women once you get that in order, because, you know, just what I've grown up around and what I've seen, you know, there's a lot of dudes who have a lot of potential and can be doing a lot more with their life, but they came from dysfunction. They came from single mother households, you know, and they was raised and promoted to idolize and worship women, and they spend their whole life chasing women, you know. And a lot of dudes, they masculinity, they feel validated by the amount of women that they have. You know, a dude can feel like he's that nigga. He cannot have, you know, $1 to his name, but he got a million different shorties that, you know, he got under his wing. So he feels like he's doing something, but he don't have his own place. He don't have his own car. You know, he shares his homies' clothes. He shares his homies' shoes. You know, it be stuff out there happening, bro. Dudes be borrowing their homies' Hellcat, all type of shit, bro. To each his own. Do what you will, but, you know, not everything be as it seems. Some motherfuckers be pretending like they balling, but don't really be balling, you know. Because, you know, certain, like, a lot of these females be ended up with these broke dudes because they get with the broke dude, and the broke dude don't look broke when they get with them. You know, because a lot of dudes know the game. A lot of dudes know that women are looking for dudes that have money. So a lot of these niggas that be from the hood and this, that, and the third, they'll be broke as hell, but they'll go out and look fly as hell, have on, you know, the nicest shoes, nicest fit, be riding around in a nice whip. Whole time, all that's a facade. Whole time, them ain't in his shoes. Whole time, that ain't in his car. Like I said, to each his own, but I've seen it firsthand. I've seen niggas borrow their homie's shoes. I've seen niggas borrow their homie's car to go slide on a shorty. Like, this shit really be happening, bro. And these shorties be falling for it, hook and sinker, bro, because, you know, niggas just be finessing with their mouthpiece. But, pause. But, my point being, it seems to be a demographic of dudes who are finding more peace in the quiet life, you know, the loner life, the peaceful life, the boring life. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to get themselves in order. And to me, I would say that you got to really have a lot of, you know, you have to have a lot of inner confidence to take this path, bro, where you really just are living a quote unquote loner, boring life. You know what I'm saying? I think experience is good. You know, you should go out there and see what's out there, and, you know, because you never know until you try. You know, what my opinion, or what whoever's opinion is on outside and going out and this, that, and the third, you would never know until you try for yourself and until you experience it for yourself. So I think experience is good, but it's a lot of dudes, they've tried already. I'm speaking for the dudes who have tried already. I'm not talking about the incel dude who barely touches grass and ain't seen poom since he came out of it. Like, I'm talking about dudes who have actually tried and they've seen what's out there, and they like, all right, you know, it's a lot of temporary stuff out here. It's a lot of, you know, situationships out here. You know, it's a lot of things that can be consuming a lot of time and a lot of energy. Like I said, bro, I've seen just too many dudes who got so much potential to be doing so many other things, but they get tied up, you know, into this whole pookie lifestyle, you know, into each his own. And that's where they get their validation from, because they grew up, you know, a lot of them grew up in single parent households. So, you know, they don't know how to be validated from within. See, as a man, you can't be validated by women or by anybody, what anybody thinks about you. You know, it's something that I learned young, bro. Like, you can't, your aura, your vibe can't go off of other people's vibes about you, bro, because what's going to end up happening, bro, you're going to have people in your life that will like you for a period, and then they won't like you. It's certain people, when you start changing and when you start evolving, you know, they won't like you no more. So, you know, your image and your security and your perception of yourself can't change based off of other people's perceptions, because people's perceptions is whimsical. You know, one day they may like you, one day they may not. That's why, you know, even with this YouTube stuff, I appreciate everybody who supports me, this, that, and the third, but I don't get too carried away with it, bro, because I know how people are. You say one thing they don't like, and all of a sudden, you know, you've done no good. You're a terrible person. You're stupid. You're this, you're that. People are quick to change, bro. And this is why a lot of people walk around insecure and depressed and this, that, and the third, because, you know, you're basing your value on other people and how other people feel about you and how other people feel about your decisions. And that's why a lot of people can never take the loner path and really just focus on themselves and their purpose and self-elevation, mind elevation, because society tells you, oh, if you don't got no females, you're a lame. Oh, if you don't got no females, you're an incel. Oh, if you don't got no females, you're not doing nothing with your life. right? If you're taking a period to focus on yourself and you're not tricking off on females, you're a lame, you're a broke, you're this, you're that. So society will shame you into conforming to its ways. So that's why you really got to have a lot of confidence. And that's why if you see a man and he's content and he's peaceful, living a peaceful, quote unquote, boring lifestyle, he just trying to get himself together, realize that that dude has more confidence than the majority of these dudes out here chasing booty. The majority of these dudes out here chasing booty, they chasing booty because they're not confident in themselves. Right. And they get validated by, you know, the amount of chicks that they can get. You know what I'm saying? And that's why a lot of these dudes end up depressed, because a lot of these women that they chase and be loose, be fast, you know, be temporary. And you know, you building all these attachments with these different women, you know what I'm saying, that don't really care about you. You wasting all this time. Even if you don't build an attachment, you just wasting time and energy on a female that don't really care about you. And some dudes, they don't really see it too deeply. They still in a young and dumb phase. They still like a little boy, where they just like a squirrel trying to get a nut. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's a lot of damn, I thought something messed up with my phone again, but my phone finna die, so I gotta get this video out. I'm trying to make this video as quick as possible. But we seeing a lot of these unks and, you know, dudes in their 40s, 50s, and 60s moving like niggas in their teenage years, moving like niggas my age. You know what I'm saying? Acting like they ain't never had no poom before. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's a lot of dudes just deeply in lust, bro. So like, if they see someone with discipline, because it's a lot of dudes, they lack discipline, especially over their lust. You know, they lack that discipline. If they see a dude that has more discipline than them, that kind of puts a mirror to them. So they gaslight you, they shame you, they make you feel weird, or you feel like this, or you feel like that. So my point being, a lot of dudes, bro, you know, they're realizing that as long as I focus on myself and I'm happy and I get myself in order, females will always be there. And the female that I want, I will be able to attract. See, that's the kind of state that I'm in. I'm trying to attract a higher level female. You know what I'm saying? So like, I got to be on high level shit to attract them. So you see people, they be around low level females. These females be around low level dudes, and they be complaining about how the dude is trash and the dude is this. Newsflash: if a female is dogging out a dude and talking about how all these men is trash and these men is this and that, she's trash. Because I don't see females that are happily in a relationship dogging out dudes, talking about how all the men are trash and this, that, and the third. A lot of them are, you know what I'm saying, quote unquote, just out the way, chilling, you know, content. So just know, 9 times out of 10, if a female is saying all dudes are trash, she's trash. Because if all you're dealing with is trashy dudes, what does that make you? Right? What does that make you? You know what I'm saying? You are who you hang around. You are who you surround yourself with. If you was a high level female, you would be thinking on a high enough level where you would be able to see all the red flags and you wouldn't deal with these type of dudes. But the thing is, a lot of females are attracted to trashy, degenerate type dudes because that's how they are. So now they don't got to get held accountable and they can do whatever they want. They can live their best life. You know what I'm saying? Because a real man gonna hold you accountable. A real woman is gonna hold you accountable. Right? If you with someone and they don't care about what you're doing and they deal with your toxicity and you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like they enjoy the toxicity. A lot of people enjoy toxic environments, toxic relationships. You just got to realize that's not a person who you can elevate with. And if you start elevating, that's typically a person who you have to cut off, bro. You know what I'm saying? But my point being is this, like I said, I don't want to be too long-winded. Not as many dudes are approaching females. Not as many dudes are going out, right? We're in a tanking economy. It's a lot of desperation out there. There's a lot of people stressing, trying to figure out how they going to make it, trying to figure out how they going to pay their bills, how they going to pay this. It's people getting sick because of their stress. It's people, you know, gaining weight because of their stress. You know, I'm seeing it all, bro. And like, you know, one of the main things I would say you need is peace of mind, bro. You know, you can be going through anything in life, bro, but as long as you got peace of mind, it's going to keep you stable and it's going to keep you heady and ready to deal with it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Where you won't stress yourself into an oblivion. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I think with the times we in and as things continue to get, you know, move in a different direction and change and evolve for better or for worse, to me, I think it's for worse. You know, if you think, you know, living in a dictatorship and, you know, motherfuckers clocking your every move and, you know, you losing points for not brushing your teeth, you losing, like, They trying to get things to a point to where they basically control us like computers. To me, that's not a good thing. Some people think that's a good thing. Some people are going to be happy with that, because they're going to make everything easy. You know, that's why a lot of people are going to give in to this, you know, what they got planned. You know what I'm saying? Because they're going to make everything convenient and everything easy. That's why a lot of people are going to give in when these smart cities come, and, you know, you won't be able to buy or sell without having that. You know what I mean? You know, so a lot of people, you know, are going to give in to that, because if you have that, you know what I mean, you're going to have access to a lot of things. They're going to make things more convenient, more easy. They're going to, like I said, order out of chaos. They're going to create all these chaotic situations, and the order that they're going to bring is that, you know what I mean, that's going to be in your risk, allegedly, right? And if you don't have that, you won't be able to buy or sell, you know. But to me, that's not a good thing. But if you think moving into a world like that is a good thing, then hey, things are going to get better. But to me, things are going to get worse, because, you know, I don't want to be a robot. I enjoy being a human. You know what I'm saying? I enjoy having the free will to do whatever the hell I want. I don't want, you know, to be losing social points because I smoked a blunt. You know, I don't want to be losing social points because I drank a beer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, big dog. I don't know. I kind of like things how they are. But yeah, bro. But my point being, with all the changes that are going to come, bro, the best thing that you can have is your mind, bro, your peace of mind, bro. And a lot of men are realizing that. A lot of men, we seeing a lot of these dudes, they got money, they got this, they got that, but they don't got no peace. They stressed out. They junkies. They all type of stuff trying to deal with the stress that's coming with everything that they've been given. Because we all know, to whom much is given, much is required. To whom much is given, much is required. More money, more problems, you know? More money, more problems. Problems are actually a good thing. If you don't got no problems, it probably means you ain't doing nothing. You know, when you start a business, you're going to eventually have problems. You know, it's just a part of life. When you got motion, when you're doing things, it's going to be problems that you got to deal with, you know? So I'm going to end the video off with this. I don't want it to be long. The reason, if you're a female and you wonder why aren't as many dudes focusing on yourself, man, look at the climate that we living in. The same reason why we got females selling a box for some money, you know what I'm saying, on OnlyFans and this, down, the third. It's the same reason why we got dudes not approaching women. Motherfuckers trying to get their bag together, right? Motherfuckers trying to get their bag together, and we see the play. See, it's some dudes, they still think like a little boy, you know. So as long as you look good, you can be the worst behaved, you know. You can be acting like a complete tyrant, and dudes are still gonna tolerate you and deal with you. But it's a lot of dudes, bro. They know they worth, they know they value, they know they worth more than that, bro. You know, they worth more than being around somebody who don't respect them and somebody who demeans them, belittles them. There's a lot of dudes that just ain't gonna tolerate no disrespect. And, you know, we in a society where it's become ordinary to be disrespectful and immoral, you know, not treat people how you would want to be treated. So, you know, the only smart thing to do is you got to move more patient. You got to move more calculated out here. You know, you got to really take time to get to know people, because it's a dangerous time to just be around anybody. You don't know what people is getting into behind closed doors. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be around the wrong energy. You don't want to be around that bad juju. You know what I'm saying? Goddamn, you around a chick, she got some bad energy spinning her way. Now you get hit with a stray. Like, it's a lot of dudes just thinking on a higher level, and they know the times we coming into, things is going to get dire. The more desperate people get, the more dire, and it's just going to be a lot going on. So you got to really see clearly, and you got to really surround yourself with solid people. It's going to be a lot of dudes, they going to get finessed because you surrounded by a bunch of snakes, right? You surrounded by a bunch of 304s that are just Jezebels leeching off of your energy, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to come a time where motherfuckers going to be so desperate, they just going to be looking for people to leech off of, bro. You know what I'm saying? And then the people that had something, they're going to lose everything they had. You know, it says in the Bible, a whorish woman brings a man to a loaf of bread. Basically saying, if you're around a woman that ain't got no value, basically if you're around a woman with the Jezebel spirit, she can strip you of everything you have, bro. You know, that's why you see a lot of these men, they go broke because they idolize the woman. You know, they got all these baby mamas. Now they go broke. Now they go bankrupt because they can't pay their child support. You know, that's the play, bro. To see, when you break down the family system, you break down the economic system. The economy and everything is suffering because the family system is suffering. It's all tied in together. It's all a bigger plan. You break down the family structure, you break down the financial structure, right? You break down the housing market, because instead of having a household with a male and with a female, now you got females, they got got their own house, and men, they got their own house. You know what I'm saying? So, now, it's more demand on the properties. Now the properties go up because the demand is up. It's more people that need somewhere to stay. You know what I'm saying? So now they got to raise the rent because, you know what I'm saying, it's more value in these houses because there's more people looking for them, right? If it was more people with families and this, that, and the third, it wouldn't be as many people looking for a place to stay. They will already have a place to stay, you know? It wouldn't be as many females looking for a place to stay. They stay with their man. They already got a place to stay. So it's just a lot of controlled things that have led us to a point where we're in a society, in my opinion, that is designed to fall. I think the way things are moving and the way things are flowing is not designed to thrive. So a lot of men are just in preparation mode, females. They not trying to be outside having fun right now. They trying to prepare themselves so when, troubling times come, they will have resources. They will have, their peace of mind, and they'll be surrounded with the right type of people. It's certain dudes, they not a little boy no more, Just because you cute and pretty, they don't want you around. What you bringing to the table other than being cute and pretty? It's an abundance of cute and pretty females out there. I promise you. You're not the only one. You're not the only baddie. It's 1,000,001 different baddies out here. So you got to really be bringing something deeper to the table other than just how pretty you are, So that's why a lot of dudes just aren't approaching females, bro. It's just the climate that we in. A lot of motherfuckers is stressed. They trying to figure out how they gonna survive, how they gonna pay their bills. A goddamn female is the last thing on a real man's mind right now, bro. A real man is like, bro, how the hell I'm gonna survive, goddamn, this new world that we coming into? That's what a lot of men are thinking about. And like I said, some men, they not even paying attention to that. They just taking it one day at a time, bro. You know what I'm saying? They not worried about none of that, quote unquote conspiracy shit. You feel me? They not worried about the future. They just focused on right now, so they gonna party. They gonna continue to party and do whatever they want and not care. And to each his own, do whatever you want to do, But that's just my answer, bro. Damn, it's been 20 minutes. That's just my answer, bro. I didn't want this video to be long. A lot of dudes are just thinking more on a higher level, bro. Niggas ain't as lustful. Niggas ain't as thirsty. Niggas see a baddie, they not finna crash out just cause she a baddie. Dudes is just raising their standards, bro. Same way y'all females. Y'all females is raising y'all standards too. And dudes is just doing the same. They raising their standards. So I think eventually things will balance out. Right now things are out of balance. I think dudes are a little delusional and females are a little delusional. I think something has to happen where motherfuckers will get humbled. And I think the economy crashing is gonna humble a lot of people. But until then, bro, it's just the market is kind of cooked right now. Everybody's egos is just way too inflated. People think they're better than what they actually are, So the best thing you can do, bro, is just get yourself in order, get your mind in order, get your things in order, and make sure your peace of mind is there, bro. Most importantly, bro, because like I said, bro, females are always gonna be there, bro. If you're stressing about a female, you're stressing about the wrong thing, bro. I know she's pretty. I know she probably got some wet, good yams, bro. But I promise you, there's plenty of wet, good yams out there, bro. She is not the only one. So if she ain't treating you right, bro, just because her yams is wet and she's pretty, that's not enough for her to be stressing you out. Because what I'm gonna tell you, bro, stress leads to diseases, bro. That's not nothing. That's not rocket science. That's basic knowledge. If you're stressed out, you're more likely to get sick. If you're stressed out, you're more likely to just have certain aches and certain pains, bro. So even on a spiritual level and just on a health level, it's better to just lower stress, bro. And a lot of y'all women, men are realizing you just not worth the headache, bro. You're not worth the headache. You're not worth the stress. A lot of men are a lot happier alone, not having some woman draining their money, draining their resources. It's a lot of men trying to save money. And the majority of the females, they have an opposite mentality. They're trying to spend money, right? So it's a conflict of interest. Like for me, it's a conflict of interest. I get with a female, she's trying to spend all my money. I'm not trying to spend all my money, my baby. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the hell tomorrow's going to look like. I may need that money. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you are a responsible dude, you a lame. You know what I'm saying? Females want to be around the tricks and the, dudes just tricking off all their money. If you tricking off all your money, this is the perfect time for you to go out there and get used and abused, right? But if you got your head on straight, you would know, like, bro, you're way better off building an empire, getting a solid woman by your side or a couple solid women on your roster, like doing things in more of an orderly way, bro, than just participating in what everybody else is doing, bro. You know? But that's just my thoughts on it. That's why I feel like it's a growing number of dudes not approaching females. Dudes is just thinking on a higher level, bro. They trying to get their self together. They trying to get their purpose together. You know, excuse me. They know when it's time for a female, you know, they always gonna be there. I know females is always gonna be there. You know, I just, hey, it just is what it is, bro. Like, that just ain't something I'm worried about, bro. Like, 5 years from now, it's going to be females around. 10 years from now, it's going to be females around, bro. So if I got to take 2, 3, 4, 5 years to get my shit in order, bro, it'll be more worth it than to spend the rest of my life just chasing females but never getting my shit together. You know, that's how you get these unks. They end up 40, 50, 60 years old, still living like a teenager, bro. Still out here chasing booty, bro. Still out here got baby mamas all over the place. And it's like, bro, like, you ain't tired of that shit. You ain't got bored. Like, you know, niggas out here don't got a car, bro, but they bragging about how many females they got. It's like, bro, you 50 years old, you can't even get from point A to point B, big dog. Like, all right, cool. You done smashed every baddie on the block, but what do you got to show for it? Like, it's a lot of young niggas like me looking at the old heads like, bro, I'm not impressed, bro. Like, unless you got real estate, unless you got your own shit and this, that, and the third, businesses and this, that, and the third, like, unless you doing major shit like that, I'm not impressed by how many females you got. Like, that's easy, bro. All you got to do is put on some decent clothes, put on some decent cologne, look half decent, and you can get some females, bro. I'm not impressed by that. But what impresses me, bro, is if you can really get your shit together and have solid women around you. That's what I want for myself, bro. I don't want hoes, you know. That's not valuable to me. That's not what I want. That's not what I desire. When I was younger, when I was in high school, that's all I wanted. Where the hoes at? Right? That's all I wanted. But, you know, I'm older now. You know, I'm more mature now. So that doesn't thrill me anymore. I want a woman now, not a girl. You feel me? So I got to get myself in order as a man so I can attract a woman. Falling on 10%. I got to get myself together as a man so I can attract a woman, because, you know, right now a woman can say, like, she can look at me as a boy. You still live with your parents. You a boy. You not a man for real. And I can't get mad at a female for feeling that way. So until I get myself in order and a female can respect me as a man, why would I worry about a female? Why would I be chasing up behind a female who looks at me as a little boy, who doesn't respect my authority, who doesn't respect what I'm trying to tell her or how I'm trying to lead her? Why would I waste time trying to deal with her when I can be using that time to get myself together so I can become something that she will have no choice but to respect, right? Either respect me or leave me alone. But one thing you're not going to do is disrespect me. But yeah, man, that's why men ain't approaching women. That's why men ain't going out right now. The economy is crashing. The dollar is crashing. The world seems to be motherfucking ending, bro. Niggas got their mind in different places than some porn. But I think I've been eating a little too much cake and ice cream. My stomach is turning. I got an appointment with the toilet. I'll get up with y'all later.